just got real! Back up, homies, and let go of my uncle!
We're in New Zealand. A troubled teen named Ricky Baker is dropped off at a rural home in a police car. His mother abandoned him, and Bella is the only one who agreed to take in the chubby troublemaker. Social worker Paula lists all of Ricky's offenses.
Disobedience, stealing, spitting, running away, throwing rocks, kicking stuff, defacing stuff, burning stuff, loitering and graffitiing. And that's just the stuff we know about.
Ricky takes a quick look around the house, then tries to get back into the car, but he's stuck here.
Ricky, this is your new home.
The only alternative is a juvenile facility. Soon, Bella's husband Hector shows up carrying a rifle and a dead boar on his shoulders.
Ricky, this is Heck. You can call him Uncle if you like.
Bella tries to make Ricky feel at home. She sets up his room with a toy, a stack of books, some figurines, a really sharp knife, and a hot water bottle. But Ricky bolts almost immediately. Exhausted, he falls asleep out in the woods. In the morning, Bella is sitting next to him.
Geez, boy, it's a miracle we found you. You made it all of 200 meters.
She lures the boy back with the promise of all the delicious food Hector has made for breakfast. Hector, however, has zero interest in bonding with him. That night, Ricky abandons his escape plan. Instead, he focuses on the hot water bottle and starts to appreciate the care he's received. Bella knows how to win him over. She teaches him how to shoot a gun.
You just breathe.
Bloody hell.
They immediately go hunting, and she fearlessly kills a wild boar with a knife in just a few seconds.
Whoa, want to help me gut it?
Ricky turns 13. Bella plays a children's keyboard and sings to him. He sings along. Meanwhile, Hector looks like he's about to lose it.
Once rejected, now accepted.
As a birthday gift, Ricky gets a dog. Now all he has to do is name it. Ricky spends the whole day playing with Tupac, but when he returns home, he hears Hector moaning and crying. Bella has died. Only 7 people show up to her funeral. The priest gives a strange sermon.
If you're ever in that situation, there are always 2 doors to choose from. And through the first door, waiting for you are all the nummiest treats you can imagine. Fanta, Doritos, LMP.
Before the service ends, Hector walks out. Back home, he sharpens an axe. Ricky brings him some burnt toast. A letter arrives from the social worker. Soon, Paula, the social worker, is scheduled to come and take Ricky to a foster home until a new family can be found.
Like hell, they can't do that.
Yeah, they can.
But Ricky doesn't want to go anywhere. He starts coming up with ways to stay. Maybe they could find Hector a wife online. Or if the police show up, they could just shoot their way out. Hector tells him to stop dreaming. He needs to accept the situation. Hector himself plans to head into the bush. Ricky warns him about the horrors of the orphanage, saying they torture and experiment on kids. He's also furious that Hector put Bella in a box. But Hector reminds him that it was Bella who wanted to take him in. That night, Ricky packs a bag, takes a rifle, and writes a fake suicide note. In the barn, he sets fire to a scarecrow dressed in his clothes, but the fire spreads quickly. Ricky, now officially on the run, still has a strong appetite. He devours all 15 sandwiches he packed. Then he tries to heat the hot water bottle over the fire, but it melts and the fire goes out. Ricky has no idea how to hunt. Dry tree bark tastes nothing like sandwiches. Soon he starts hallucinating from hunger. That's when Hector finds him.
I move fast. I got my own thing going on here.
Ricky fantasizes about going back to the city, where he could become a rapper or drug dealer, get shot in a car, the usual. He keeps complaining as they travel. When he learns Hector can't read, he starts mocking him.
You can't read?
Watch it,
You're
pal.
like one of those people who like race by like wolves or something, eh? Ooga booga, me heck, me no read. What's this? This is words. Me stupid.
Hector tries to hit the boy, but ends up breaking his own ankle.
You little bastard!
There's no one around to help anyway. When Ricky needs to go to the bathroom, Hector tells him to wipe with a leaf and bury it after. Meanwhile, Paula realizes something's off. The ashes they found didn't contain human remains. After all, a bowl and a human skull are very different things. Ricky sets up a makeshift camp and tries hunting again. This time, he aims at a bird and fires. Even with a broken leg, Hector manages to catch a big eel. Time passes, and he's eventually able to walk with the help of a stick. They come across a remote hunting lodge and find a search poster inside. Turns out, people have been looking for them for 6 weeks. The flyer even says Hector might be mentally unstable after the death of his wife. Just then, 3 hunters enter the cabin. They're shocked to find the pair, now infamous throughout the region. Suspicious and aggressive, the men accuse Hector of kidnapping Ricky.
We got lost, I got injured, he's fine. It was basically a holiday.
Not a real holiday because he made me do stuff.
Then Ricky opens his mouth and makes everything worse. He says Hector made him do all sorts of things, that he had gentle hands, and that he didn't really like it, but otherwise he wouldn't have survived. The mustached hunter threatens Hector with prison for being a pervert.
You're a bloody pervert.
What'd you call me?
You heard him? Yeah, you heard him, you perv.
Hector loses it and attacks all 3 men. Ricky fires a warning shot into the ceiling and demands they let his uncle go.
It's okay, kid. You can put it down. He won't hurt you anymore.
I said, get away from my uncle!
Ricky!
They escape, but not before damaging the hunter's gun. Only afterward does Ricky realize what he'd actually said out loud, and how disturbing it must have sounded. Hector is upset. He doesn't want any trouble with the police. He's already served time for manslaughter, and it's unlikely anyone would believe him now. That's why he wants to stay hidden in the forest.
So what do we do now?
So the 2 of them decide to hide out in the bush together. But little one knows they're going to have a really tough time this winter. The pair has been placed on the National Wanted list. Helicopters fly overhead constantly, and special forces are combing the area. The fugitives survive by stealing what they need from hunting cabins. Ricky has even learned how to hunt wild game. They've made it all the way to the high mountain lakes. Sometimes Hector speaks with a kind of magical wisdom. He remembers Bella, how she had no family, yet still took him and Ricky in like stray dogs. She had a heart of gold. Soon, they were so deep in the wilderness that Hector thought he saw a guya bird, an extinct species. It's a shame they didn't have a camera. In one remote cabin, they came across a forest ranger who was barely alive.
Oh, he's dead.
Coming out of the forest, Ricky spots a pretty Maori girl who takes his breath away. They ride together to her house on horseback. Her name is Kahu. She calls the police to report a sick man in a hut, then tells Ricky to relax. She knows who he is. She saw his photo in the newspaper. In real life, he looks thinner. Ricky instantly becomes smitten with her. Kahu's father walks into the kitchen and is thrilled to see Ricky. He eagerly takes a few selfies with the local celebrity, calling him a real man and wishing him good luck. Kahu invites Ricky and his uncle to stay at their place. Ricky shares that he never knew his father and that his mother abandoned him. All he has left of her is a small fragment of a photo. Ricky eventually falls asleep, but when he wakes up, he asks Kahu's family to take him back right away. When they get near the house, he sees a crowd of officers dressed like ninjas and a social worker.
Where did they go? Where did they go? I know you know something.
Now, Ricky needs to find his uncle fast. The chase for the boy and the old man has been going on for 4 months. After saving a man's life, they've become national heroes. To many, they're like 2 John Rambos. Whoever catches them gets $10,000, dead or alive. No, only alive. One day, Paula spots Ricky, but they're separated by a cliff. They argue and joke about who's the Terminator and who's Sarah Connor.
Got the whole country looking for you.
I'll never stop running.
Yeah, and I'll never stop chasing you. I'm relentless. I'm like the Terminator.
I'm more like Terminator than you.
I said it first. You're more like Sarah Connor.
No, I'm not.
Yes, in the first movie too, before she could do chin-ups.
Paula pulls out some chocolate-covered nuts and offers Ricky a deal. If he says the old man was bothering him, he'll never have to go back to the foster system. But Ricky refuses to betray his uncle. The kid continues on his way and eventually reunites with Hector. After a while, they run into the same group of hunters again.
Shit just got real.
The hunters steal their supplies and wreck their guns. Again. Hector suggests Ricky should just go back. But Ricky insists he's better off living like a gangster. Then, their dogs encounter a massive wild boar. To save his dog Zag, Hector rushes at it with a knife. The boar is about to kill him when Ricky shoots it straight in the head. Unfortunately, they can't save Zag, and Hector has to put him down. All this time, Ricky had been carrying Bella's ashes in his backpack. When Hector finds out, he scatters them near a waterfall. Winter comes. The hunters, a social worker, and, of course, a ninja are still on their trail. One day, they almost catch the fugitives, who have to hide, just like in The Lord of the Rings. Eventually, they meet a strange man hiding in the bushes. He claims he's also a wanted man, and says everyone calls him Psycho Sam.
You guys heard of a local legend about a guy that lives out here in the bush on his own? They call him Psycho Sam.
He wears kitchenware on his head to avoid government surveillance and even tries to cook with wool. Hector is still seen as a pervert, and after robbing the hunters again, the duo is once more labeled as enemies of society. Sam has been hiding out in the woods for 15 years because he got tired of filling out government forms. Sam reveals a tunnel that leads to a secret room, but he didn't finish digging it. Eventually, he decides to play dead. Still, there's another escape route. He's been hiding a pickup truck under a tarp. To buy Ricky and Hector time, Sam promises to stall the police. But in the end, he just goes back to pretending he's a bush. They're being chased by dozens of cars, several helicopters, and even an armored personnel carrier, where Paula's social worker yells at them through a megaphone.
Move back! This is the police! Stop the vehicle and hand over the boy!
The road ahead is blocked by the military, so Ricky suddenly turns around and drives the other way, trying to hide in the bush again. Hector begs him to stop, but Ricky crashes through a fence into a junkyard. They're surrounded by special forces. Hector tries to get him to surrender, but Ricky fires a shot into the air and starts screaming that the old man corrupted him. Hector, fed up, spits and walks off to turn himself in, until Ricky suddenly points a gun at him. Ricky refuses to let his uncle leave, reminding him they're one family. Then, by accident, he shoots Hector in the butt. Both of them are detained, and their wild, dangerous adventure finally comes to an end. Witnesses testify in court, and Ricky's fate hangs in the balance. In the end, Kahu and her father take him in. They even leave a hot water bottle on his bed to make him feel welcome. After serving some time, Hector is released. He's sent to a rehabilitation center where Ricky and Tupac come to visit him.
Been doing all right?
Yeah, I just had to stick it out in a new family for a year. I did.
Ricky, full of questions, asks how prison was. Did Hector stab anyone? The kid then apologizes for shooting him, for burning down the barn, and for talking about corruption. He admits he got a little carried away. Being an outlaw was just too much fun. Ricky invites Hector to come live with him and help the family on the farm. He also shares his dream of finding that rare bird and becoming famous. Life in the rehab center is boring, so Hector agrees. But there's one condition. He has to accept Ricky's request to start calling him Uncle again.
Yeah, but I've got one rule. You gotta let me call you Uncle.
Uncle.
That's it for today's recap. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more movie recaps coming your way.